What's up everyone, Jacob here with Uncommon EDC, and in today's video I kind of wanted to pause and take a look back at the 3 premium items we've received so far with the Going Gear Premium EDC Club subscription. So this subscription started in December 2021. The standard subscription's been around a lot longer than that, but the first premium subscription was December 2021, so there's been 3 months so far, and the 3 items on the screen here are the first 3 items. In December, we received the Benchmade Mini Adamas. In January 2022, we received the Giant Mouse Ace Nimbus version 2. And in February, we received the Spider Coast by Opera, which I believe is made by Lion Steel, but a Spyderco design. And so the premium subscription costs $200, but I don't think that's really the target we're looking for when we're comparing value, because you do get everything in the standard subscription, which costs $60. Usually the value of that's going to be, $80 to $100. So we're expecting, I guess, another $140 value at the minimum. But of course, if you were getting a $140 value, you could probably just buy that yourself. So they have to give you a little bit more value than what you're paying. So I think the trend based on the pricing, the Spire Opera was the cheapest at $183.75, followed by the Giant Mouse at $185, and then lastly the Benchmade Mini Adamas was $225. So I think that's kind of the range we can expect from the premium items, somewhere between $175 and $225 at the top end. And so obviously dollar-wise, the value's been there so far, and I think it'll continue to be there. I doubt they're going to go much lower than that $175 price point. Again, just because they need to, if you wanted to spend $140, you would just buy your own knife. So they really need to give you that kind of extra value to make it worth it, and to kind of mitigate some of that risk where, you don't know what you're getting. So it's possible that for that $140, you get a knife that you don't like, which I guess is another point we should make, is that so far all of the premium items have been nice, and I think that's going to continue as well. For me, I'd love to see a $200 flashlight in one of these boxes, but I think that's a little bit of a harder sell for a lot of people that subscribe to this box. If they're paying that much, they're going to want a knife. Not everyone prioritizes a flashlight or some of these other items in their EDC, and so I think some people would be pretty disappointed if they received that $200 flashlight. So I doubt they're gonna take that risk. Maybe down the line they do, but I think we're gonna see a lot of knives. And these 3, I think, really set the standard for what we can expect. These are all 3 kind of behemoths in the knife world in terms of brands. Spyderco and Benchmade, obviously more so. Those are knives that even kind of a layman, non-knife person probably would recognize, whereas the Giant Mouse is a little bit less recognizable, but has 2 legendary knife designers at the helm, and they're known for kind of their quality, their design, fit and finish. They're just really well-designed knives, and I think everyone knows that they're great knives as well. So although they're not as recognizable as the other 2, I think between these 3 knives, we kind of know what to expect from the future months, and that's going to be high quality knives from well-known brands with really good steels. The Spyderco is the M390, the Benchmade is Crewwear, and the Giant Mouse is LMAX. And so all really high quality steels, high quality materials that they're using, and going to have great, excellent fit and finish. And so that's kind of what I wanted to look at. Obviously, they're going to hit their value. They kind of have to as a subscription box. That's what people are expecting, is to hit their value. But for me, I was really excited for these 3 knives. And when I subscribed, I kind of set a 3-month trial period for myself where I was going to see the first 3 boxes and determine if I wanted to continue the subscription. Pretty early on, I think maybe after the 2nd box, I decided I wanted to extend that trial to around 6 months. So that's what we're doing. We're going to keep looking at it. But so far, I think these have been popular videos for my channel, and I've really enjoyed the content. So pretty sure I'm going to continue this as long as that continues to be the case. One thing that's, I guess, interesting is we saw the most valuable knife, the Benchmade Mini Adamas, come in the first box at $225, and then the second one dropped down to 185 for the giant mouse, and then 183.75 for the Spyderco. So it's been kind of a decreasing value so far. I doubt that trend continues, just kind of based on the boxes. I think we've seen just kind of with the standard, it goes up and down. It ranges in that, again, $80 to $100 range, and I think these are going to range in the $175 to $225 range. I doubt that we're going to see it drop much lower than that, so I'm sure next month we'll probably see a little bit of a jump, just because it can't get much lower and the value still be there. But in terms of, for me, dollar value is not always necessarily a great reflection because everyone has different preferences, and I think they did a very good job of kind of spreading it out, where there's not going to be many people upset with any of three of these knives, but there's definitely people whose preferences are going to be very different than mine. And for me, I think in order of favoritism, they kind of came in order, with the Benchmade Mini Adamas being my favorite. It's kind of got a, tactical look, which isn't always my favorite look. I don't have a ton of super tactical looking knives, but this one really stood out to me. I really like the look of it, and it just feels like a huge knife. It feels good in your hand. You can see, similar to the Giant Mouse Nimbus, they're very similar size actually, but the Benchmade feels so much bigger, and a lot of that's because it's so much thicker. But overall, I just kind of like the way this feels in my hand a little bit better, and I like the look of it a little bit better. Even though I'm not a huge tactical person, I really like the design of this knife, and there's a few things that I would change personally, but overall I'm happy with it. The thumb stud, I really like the thumb stud actually. Some people love them, some people hate them. I like thumb studs on knives. The lock, I think, is the best of any of the three that we got here. Obviously the Axis lock is great. On this particular model, I've actually seen that sometimes it'll fail when batoning with a knife. I don't usually baton with pocket knives, so I don't think I'm going to run into that issue, but I think Max Level EDC did a video on it, and that video was in response to someone else's video who had issues batoning, and he kind of recreated that. And so I guess not a perfect knife. You don't usually see that problem with Benchmade's Axis lock, but in this particular model, I guess it is an issue. I haven't run into any issues. It was a little bit stiff for me when I got it, but as it's broken in, this was the one I got first, so it's the most broken in of all of them. As it's broken in, it's kind of loosened up for me, so no issues there. The one thing that I really don't love is the jimping. It's very aggressive for me, and it's everywhere. So they have it at the kind of base of the knife, of the blade, at the top of the handle on both the top and bottom, and then on the inner grip on both the top and bottom, and it's really aggressive jimping. I usually like a more subtle jimping. It doesn't create any hot spots or anything like that, and not a huge deal overall, but I'd prefer something a little bit more subtle. But overall, this is by far my favorite of the three. The other two are a lot closer for me. I like the Giant Mouse Ace Nimbus V2 a little bit better, but it's really close. They're very kind of different knives, but both I kind of consider like a gentleman's kind of knife. I know this one's more meant as like a workhorse type knife, but it's just a very classy looking knife for me. They both have micarta. The Spy Opera and the Giant Mouse have a micarta handles. This one I like the kind of texture to a little bit better. The Spy Opera is super polished, and this one's a little bit more tacky, not like the most aggressive, but still a little bit more grippy than the Spy Opera, so I really like that. And then the other thing that I really like on this one is the jimping, which is a little bit more subtle, well, a lot more subtle actually than the Benchmade, and it's just kind of at the perfect spot for me, right where my thumb kind of hits if I'm going to be doing like a pull through or any of those like more aggressive cuts. And then it's also a good spot for my index finger if I'm trying to do more aggressive cutting, or more controlled cutting, I'm sorry, not aggressive cutting. And it's just a really good placement. It's super subtle and it feels a lot better to me. I guess a big difference for both the Spy Opera and the Giant Mouse from the Benchmade is the pocket clip. Both the Spy Opera and the Giant Mouse use wire clips that are pretty similar, whereas the Benchmade uses their deep carry pocket clips. So they're all deep carry. I prefer the Benchmade's a little bit more. It just feels better in the hand. You don't really notice it on the Mini Adamas, whereas both on the Spy Opera and on the Nimbus, it's a little bit noticeable. None of them are uncomfortable, but they're noticeable. And so I just like the Benchmade one a little bit more, but overall, all really solid pocket clips. One thing I don't like about the wire pocket clip is just how it looks on the side that doesn't have the clip. You can kind of see there's still slots for it to insert, which obviously there has to be just based on the design of the clip. And it's like that on the Spy Opera as well. So I don't love the look of that. Obviously, it's kind of unavoidable with the style of clip, but just preference-wise, that's something I don't love. Another thing that's kind of standing out to me, just as I look at them, and I hadn't really noticed, is that the Ace Nimbus does not have any logo on the front side. And I'm not sure if I like that or don't like it. But I guess for the purpose of the video, I'd prefer if the logo was on this side. It has it on the back, and they have a really cool little giant mouse logo. So I don't care so much about the blade model, but it would be nice if it was on the show side. I guess that is the show side if you switch the pocket clips, but just kind of a random thing that popped out to me as I was filming. So a lot of similarities, I guess, between the Spy Opera and the giant mouse. Obviously, both use a kind of a hole system instead of the stud. Spyderco's obviously their patented Spidey hole, whereas this one's a little bit more like teardrop shaped. For me, I like thumb studs a little bit better. They're a little bit easier for me. I'm not great at like Spidey flicking or Spidey flicking these, so I'd prefer the thumb stud, but I think the hole looks a little bit better aesthetically. But again, this is a really nice looking knife, and I prefer it just a little bit over the Spy Opera, and there's a couple reasons why. For the Spy Opera, it's a really nice knife, a little bit smaller than the other two, and just super classy looking. The micarta handles are super polished, so they're kind of slippery, which is why I prefer the giant mouse a little bit more. Just has a better grip. They're both kind of contoured and fine. There's nothing wrong with the polished micarta. For me, I think just a color preference. I like the green a little bit more than the brown. This one's just kind of like a leathery look, kind of classic looking, very nice knife. But just preference wise, I'm sure there's going to be people that prefer this over the green, and I'm not one of those people, but I'm sure there are people out there. The other thing I don't love is the lock back. It's just not my favorite style of lock. I feel like especially the placement on this one is super low. Not super easy to use one-handed. I mean, it's definitely doable, but not my favorite lock style. And then also that the lanyard holds kind of in the back here above the pocket clip, which makes it stick out a little bit more. Both of them, probably this and the giant mouse, have a similar level. The giant mouse is actually a little bit more pronounced. It sticks out of the pocket a little bit more on the end, but its lanyard holds over here on the side. So a little bit more subtle. This one doesn't stand out too much, but still would prefer it be somewhere else, just kind of out of the way of the pocket clip so that it could be a little bit more deep carry. Again, I guess that didn't really matter with the giant mouse, which it is out of the way, but it's still sticking out a little bit more. And then you'll also notice there's no jimping on this Spy Opera at all, but I'm not really missing it. I feel like the Spidey hole is just kind of in the right place where you can use it the same way you'd use the jimping. It's very, the grip is still there without it. So I don't miss it at all on this one. I guess it kind of sounds like I don't love this knife. I actually think it's a great knife. I just don't like it as much as the other two, but it has been growing on me. I like it more than I did yesterday, and it's the newest of the three. So, who knows, maybe in a few months, I'll like this one more, but just kind of off the initial reaction, I don't love it as much as the other two, but still a very, very solid knife. The other weird thing that kind of stood out to me is just how the blade sits when it's closed. There's like a small gap here, and it's not really catching. I mean, I've only held it for a day. It doesn't really catch on anything or anything like that. It just looks a little funny to me. Not sure why, but don't love that, Usually when they close up, that's hidden. So obviously this has it as well, but it's kind of hidden within the frame, so you're not seeing that. So that was just another just kind of aesthetic thing that I didn't love. But again, overall, a really, really solid knife. And I like all three of these. I'd rank them kind of Benchmade, Giant Mouse, then Spyderco. But I'm sure if you talk to 100 other people that got these boxes, they'd rank them in a very different order. And that's what I think was such a great job by Going Gear. I like all three of these knives, and I rank them in the order that I rank them, but I'm sure that, again, if you asked 100 other people, some people might have the Spyderco first, and some people might have the Giant Mouse first, and the Benchmade last. So I think they did a really good job. Whoever is curating the items did a great job of getting items that almost everyone will like, and different people will like them in a different order. There's not a clear winner or loser. There is for me, that I like them in a particular order, but I don't think there's a consensus winner or loser. They're all excellent value knives, and very happy with it. Excited to see what the next 3 months bring. Again, I'd love to see some other types of items besides knives, but again, I think that'll be pretty hard for Going Gear to accomplish without upsetting a lot of their subscribers. So I understand, obviously, if they don't. One other thing that I'd really love to see that we saw in the standard box this month was the Going Gear exclusive. So we got the Kaiser Begleiter 2 in a exclusive black and micarta. And I'd love to see a lot more of that. Again, with these more expensive items, you want stuff that maybe you wouldn't have bought, but you're really going to enjoy. You want stuff that's going to hit a certain value point above that $140 that you're spending. And then you want things that you can't get anywhere else. So I would love to see more exclusives coming with the premium gear in particular, just so it really adds to that value. Even if it's not increasing the dollar value, it's the same quality of materials. If you're getting different color variants or an upgraded steel, I think that really adds to the value. So I'm excited to see if they do anything like that. Early on, I think they've been scrambling kind of with their move, and then obviously with the new box, it would be difficult to implement that in some of the earlier boxes, but I do hope that we see that in some of the upcoming boxes. But I think that's it. Overall, 3 really high quality knives. I'm very happy with where we're at so far, so definitely going to continue the subscription. But I'd love to hear how you rank them. What was your favorite? What was your least favorite of the 3? Do you think it's worth the extra $140? And what do you hope to see from the future boxes? But thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day.